Candidate Osbakken?
I'm going to step out of the box a little bit. The city funds Cirrus Airplanes, which is owned by the People's Republic of China, to the tune of millions of dollars. And those airplanes are meant only for the 1%. And we all know that. So the city should have money for people to get places, the everyday person, if they can find money for People's Republic of China, Cirrus Airplanes. Second thing is, out of the box, is I'm going to propose, when I'm in council, a basic income guarantee pilot program. Nobody should have to worry about their housing, their food, their basics, their transportation. We should be thinking about a basic income guarantee for all people without qualification. We could pilot that here, maybe with UMD or Scholastica.
Candidate Hansen?
Thank you, Gary, for your story. Yes to committing to finishing the work and working towards complete streets. And I am committing my time to number 2, but as the others had said, resources, understanding that, I definitely would need to just understand what that means, but committing the time to figuring that out is important. For me, this really hits home. I was hit by a car walking across the street this last year, and so our accessibility and safety of our downtown is really important to those who have disabilities and those who don't. It's really unfortunate that we don't have the complete streets that we're talking about now, and I'm excited to work towards that because I know it'll make not only all of our areas that we're making those changes in more accessible, but it tends to slow traffic and make things safer. So for me, that is really important. Thank you.
And Candidate Westerland?
Thank you, Gary, for sharing your story. Absolutely support complete streets, which sounds very similar to the concept of universal design, where we're planning future developments to meet the needs of all Duluthians, not just people who maybe don't have a disability or don't have a car or don't have a, or are elderly. I think that's the proactive way to ensure that everybody can share in our transportation systems and our public amenities. So absolutely yes. And this question is really pertinent to the Hillside, which I hope to represent as the District 3 councilor, as 30% of Central Hillsiders do not own a personal vehicle. So we know that people are using our public transportation and people are walking. People are riding the DTA, they're riding bikes. And so this Complete Streets is a great way to ensure that that's a safe way for them to go about doing that. Part 2, I want to see how the city can be a partner in this. I know we have a really strong social service system here with 501c3s, our county, and several other funds that do provide emergency transportation funding.
Thank you, Candidate Westerland. All right, our fifth topic is earned sick and safe time, and Deb is going to share more.
Hello, my name is Deb Smith, and I've been a resident of Duluth for off and on for 25 years. And in the past 8 years, I've been a resident of West Duluth and Lincoln Park neighborhoods. I have a daughter who lives out in the eastern part of the city, a grandson who goes to East High School, and a daughter who lives in West Duluth, and a granddaughter who also lives in West Duluth, and my child who lives at home with me. I'm a single mom. My child is a sophomore in high school at Denfeld. I've worked primarily in the last 3 years of the 8 years that I've lived in Duluth, recently as a temporary employee. And that's allowed me to see a different view of employment in our cool city. I'm currently working to create a new community, one in which the economy works for all of us in Duluth. Over half of the workers in Duluth lack basic, earned, sick, and safe time. It's a basic right. I believe that is a basic right to have paid time off for when you're sick, or when you need to go to the doctor, when you need to take your child to the doctor, or if you have a elderly parent in which you have to take care of. I think that that's a basic right for individuals. I've come to understand this great need for paid time off for illness, because of my own personal situation. I advocate for this issue because it's a benefit that I need and a benefit that I've needed for the past 3 years. Paid sick and safe time for ourselves and our families would really make a difference in our day-to-day lives. Like a friend of mine works at a local steakhouse. If he got sick and he had to take a day off to recover from the flu without, being a public health hazard, that would be a benefit to him. And then he would be able to make his rent and not be a public health risk as well. And for myself, time off for medical visits for myself and my child who has asthma, it's a great benefit that I could use. I didn't have paid sick days benefit in 2013. I didn't have paid sick days benefit part of 2014, nor 15. And that's like a long time. And it's been a choice for me between going to work ill or simply missing out on money that I can use for food or other basic needs. And I feel that I shouldn't have to be financially penalized for taking a day for a doctor visit or for illness for myself or my kid. And I've had to live on less when we've gotten sick. It's just a reality of my situation. For most of us temps who do not have this fantastic benefit of getting paid time off, or Duluthians working over 20 hours a week or under 40 hours a week, we just don't have that work benefit of paid sick time, and I think it's really needed, and we would do better financially. Paid sick time would also make a huge difference in our take-home pay. It's a public policy issue, that's a public health issue. Restaurant employees shouldn't have to work ill. It's also an issue of equity. For me, it's about benefits and becoming more equal in the workplace in Duluth. So as to the question, to the city council members who are graciously here this evening, do you city council candidates support a local solution to give access to earned sick and safe time, and would you support that policy in the city? And there's a bit of an addendum here, as it earned in sick and safe time is a basic right to take time off of work when a family member is sick, or to respond to incidents of domestic violence or sexual assault or stalking. Would you support a local solution to give employees access to earned sick and safe time in our city?
Thank you very much, Deb. We're going to start with candidate Booth.
Thank you for your story. It would be easy to sit up here and tell you guys that I agree, but that's not who I am. And so I have to be honest with you. The answer to me is no. Most employers, I am one, could not afford, it would put me out of business, to pay people for sick time off. If somebody comes to me and says, I need a time off, their job is protected. They're not going to lose their job, but I could not afford to pay them to take time off and not be productive for me. And the majority of small businesses in Duluth are similar to what I am. I'm sure that if the employers could afford it, most employers would. I don't believe it should be regulated. I think you're going to do damage to the business community. And so for those reasons, I would say no. I would say if you ask for non-paid time off,
Thank
I'd
you,
be in
candidate
favor of
Booth.
that.
Candidate Hobbs.
Yeah, paid sick time off. I support it. I think we need, if we want to meaningfully combat poverty, one of the methods is that people get sick. We have changing demographics. People are taking in their grandparents or their parents, and they're staying there, and they have to go to appointments. And if you have children, you can't account for your child getting sick. You can't build that into your daily life because life happens, and everybody gets sick. and everybody should have a right to paid time off, not just those that are making above $60,000 a year, which is kind of the statistic on when everyone has paid time off. So I support it, but certainly we have to discuss what that looks like, and I think it would be a push, but I'm supportive of that.
Candidate Osbacher?
I definitely support it, and I also feel we should support a $15 an hour wage minimum and fair scheduling. If employers cannot afford, say they can't afford these things, they can't afford to give people basic rights, should they be in business? Because they're using and abusing their workers. And the worker is the one that's making the money. So yeah, 15 now, fair scheduling, and definitely sick leave and parental.
Candidate Hansen?
Thank you. Thank you, Deb, for your story. For me, this is an absolute yes. I recognize my privilege growing up. I started working when I was 15, managing a small shop, and at that time, there were only 10 of us employees, and we all had earned time off. As I grew, I never worked for a company over 25 employees. In all of those different positions, we had earned time off. Once I got kind of like one of the dream jobs, I was working 55 to 70 hours a week and got hit by that car I told you about. I didn't realize I didn't have earned time off for that type of event or hadn't accumulated much in the time I was there. So I ended up taking no pay. And that was the first time that I'd really been hit personally in a position of the highest position I've ever had in my life for working for a larger company. So I feel like this is a conversation we have to have with all employers, small, medium, and large, in our community.
Thank you, Candidate Hansen. Candidate Cypress?
So I teach at UW Superior. I have a lot of students who are working their way through school on low-wage jobs. I see how important this is almost every day. We're the only major in the country and the world that does not do this. We need to do this. I will go to the ends of the earth to get this at the state level for all Minnesotans. My only concern with the local solution is that as a small city, I do worry that if we try to do it alone, we might lose jobs out of our community that people need and rely on. So I'm not prepared to say yes tonight to the local solution because I just want us to dig into it a little bit and just reassure ourselves that we can do this at the local level without losing jobs that people need to other regions, other cities, or have it go to Hermantown where these jobs are less accessible to the very people who need the jobs. So it pains me to say not quite yes tonight.
Candidate Anderson?
We are living in a time of historic disparities between the rich and the poor in our country. And I think that's the issue that I need to name on this question tonight. Historic disparities. And for that reason, I would like to see Duluth be a model. We have the Duluth model around domestic and sexual abuse prevention. Let's have a Duluth model on this issue, safe and earned sick time for all of our employees. So that's a yes.
Candidate Kennedy?
Thank you, Deb, for sharing. I believe earned sick and safe time is a basic right for all. I have experienced this over the years of being a single mother, raising my family and working here. And so I know how it feels to not be able to have that resource and having to miss work and then you're not able to pay your family. So we do need to make sure we're making policies and working with organizations and other people so that we don't lose our small businesses. That's very important because you want to work, and so you don't want to lose the job because they're afraid that they can't make their budgets because they earn sick and safe time. So we really need to have a good discussion about how that's going to happen. And if we can partner with other cities, as Joel had mentioned, or other organizations, it would be a great thing. But let's work together on it and let's make it happen.